What's ham radio, you say?
According to Title 47 from the FCC, Part 97, Amateur Radio Service, amateur radio is A. Recognition and enhancement of the value of the amateur service to the public as a voluntary, non-commercial communication service, particularly with respect to providing emergency communications. B. Continuation and extension of the amateur's proven ability to contribute to the advancement of radio art. It's art. C. Encouragement and improvement of the amateur service through rules which provide advancing skills in both communication and technical phases of the art. D. Expansion of the existing reservoir with an amateur radio service of trained operators, technicians, and electronics experts. And finally, E. Continuation and extension of the amateur's unique ability to enhance international goodwill.
Goodwill, eh? So why aren't there more jokes being told on ham radio instead of complaining and bitching and blah, blah, blah? I'm just kidding. The actual term ham, like ham radio, was meant as a derogatory term.
In the early days of radio communications, via Morse code transmitters, there existed professional telegraphers and amateur enthusiasts. The professionals, taking pride in their new profession, strive to produce clean, regularly spaced code transmissions, meeting the desired standards of Morse code. These pros were said to have looked down on amateurs whose code was nowhere near as clean and precise, mocking them as ham-fisted operators. The term stuck and became abbreviated simply as hams and transformed the term of derision to an adopted term of endearment for amateur radio operators.
What assholes?
Yeah, well, as of October 2021, there were 780,000 licensed ham radio operators. I don't know if that's I think that's just a total. It's probably more than that. I'm sure it's well over 1 million now in the United States. So yeah, it's quite a bit. You know, you got 1 million people doing ham radio and nobody knows what the hell it is. Prohibited activities. Obscene or indecent language as part of the purpose of promoting a national goodwill as well as common decency among a wide variety of ages and all backgrounds of ham radio operators. You have to keep it clean on the air. So there's a lot here. I mean, this is just part of the FCC. I'm just telling you. I mean, another thing that we do is we get call signs. Mine's KA0 Charlie Lima Golf. You're supposed to identify yourself every 10 minutes, according to this. You know, I don't know if many people do that, but you're supposed to. But guys and gals like to say their call signs, just like we're mini broadcasters. Hello, this is KA0ZLG. You know, they like to really, say their call signs. So there's no problem there, I think. My uncle was great when he would say, this is W0KET. It was great how he used to say it. You know, in a way, ham radio is like Alcoholics Anonymous, you know. You're not, in AA, you're not supposed to do anything to, make money on it. It's not a money-making scheme. The same way for ham radio. I wonder if Bill W. and members of ham radio or the founders kind of were I don't know. This whole thing kind of got developed the same time as AA, right around the 1930s. It was kind of, before that, but they have there's similarities with the two things. They're both nonprofit. So I find that kind of strange. In Alcoholics Anonymous, you have a sponsor, helps you work the steps. And in ham radio, you have an Elmer.
I had an Elmer. It was my uncle, kind of, my dad a little bit. He wasn't really into the ham radio, but he had a license. And then there was a couple guys at the club. I remember there was Don K0DL, I think. He's the guy that gave me my code test for the novice back in 1977, I think it was. And I remember going into his shack. It was the greatest shack in the world. It was clean. It was cool. Everything was wired really nice. And he had a Kenwood TS-820. I was like, wow. He goes, hey, sit down, tune with it. I was like, I don't want to touch your radio. It's so awesome, but those are the guys. You know, there's a few more, but you know, back in the day when I was going to the ham club in local Alexandria, I don't go to ham clubs anymore. Maybe I will someday, but the technology has gone way beyond what I even can understand. So I got a lot of learning to do. And that's that. 73 from CLG.